Hey folks, this is Vent with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly review Shakes on a Plane. This is a game that you can find on Steam for about 15 bucks. So this is another one of those Overcooked-esque games where you're on a plane, you're going to be serving passengers various items. For example, you'll have to bring them water or coffee, or cook a burger on a stove and then bring them that, or if they request multiple things, you bring a tray over, you put items onto the tray, then you bring the tray over to the customer, you give it to them, and they consume it, and then after a while they want you to recycle their trash for them. And you have to pick up their trash, bring it over to the recycling bin, and there you go. So you're constantly jumping around, dashing from place to place, trying to get these things done. Now, that's all well and good. However, this game suffers from a couple of problems. First and foremost, I didn't find the user interface and the buttons to be all that, I don't know, like trying to navigate menus and interact with various things was hard to do. For example, when I was trying to adjust the sound levels in the options menu, I couldn't do it. Sometimes I would hit left on my thumbstick and the bar wouldn't move. Other times it would move. So it's like it wasn't very responsive. Another issue that I have is that while other games in the Overcooked genre, not Overcooked per se, but there are other games out there, Moving On Out or something like that, that allows players the ability to move on to the next level despite not completing it. If they're having trouble with the level or whatever, some games of the genre will say, okay, would you like to move on to the next level? Yes, no. All right, we'll give you at least 1 star for trying, 2 stars if you complete it here, 3 stars if you complete this in this amount of time, whatever. This game doesn't do that. It's a 1, 2, 3 star reward system, and if you don't get at least 1 star, then you don't get to move on to the next level. And the game does not seem to be balanced at all for single player. I've played this game on single player for roughly an hour, and I was doing fine on the first 4 levels. I 3-starred all 4 of them. No, the first 3 levels, I'm sorry. I 4-starred them. Then on the 4th level, it introduced 5 different workstations. There was a burger and fries, and I had to... they were on opposite ends of the plane. And so you had to... hit the button to bring up the burger, bring the burger over to the cooking station so it cooks for a little bit. Same thing with the fries. Then you've got coffee and water. I wasn't able to do it in single player. In single player, you get to choose a second character to bring with you, and then you switch between them like you would in Overcooked. I never used that. Typically, my one character was never standing around long enough for me to warrant switching over to someone else. The only time that I did was when I had to get trash from a customer before the time limit expired. Let's say that I had one guy on the left and one guy on the right. My guy on the right was cooking something, and then there was a customer on the left that needed to recycle trash, and the bar was almost empty. I quickly switched over to the other person to take their trash, throw it away, then switched back to the other person. So on occasion, I did utilize that. However, again, I never stood still long enough, really, to really warrant the switching of people. So my advice is, if you plan to buy this game, you're going to want to have people to play with. This game does support split-screen co-op and, by extension, that remote play-together feature that Steam has. So I highly recommend that you play this with friends. At the moment, this game is not balanced for single player. I cannot get past the 4th level. I cannot 1-star it. It's just too darn hard for me to play. Unlike the other games that I'd mentioned, there are other games in the genre that, go, okay, well, you tried, so here's 1 star, move on to the next one. Or there's no way to adjust the difficulty manually so that, casual people can still have a fun time with it. No, there's just the one difficulty, and it's 1, 2, or 3 stars depending on your performance. So there are other games in the series, or in the genre, rather, that offer multiple difficulty settings, that offer the ability to move on to the next level, or a way to balance it for one player so they don't become frustrated and overwhelmed. This game does not do that. And because of that, I can't recommend it. if you're going to create a game like this and advertise it as both a single player and multiplayer game, then you need to give the players the options to make it balanced for single player and still let them have a fun time doing it. As it stands, this game frustrates me in single player. Will I think differently in multiplayer? Probably. I do plan to give multiplayer a try later, depending if I can get enough people or certain people, together with me to do that. But as it stands right now, like, just the fact that the game doesn't support the customization that it should for single player, I'm sorry, but I'd have to give this one a pass. I would recommend other games over this one because of those missing features. And again, like I was saying, the interface was sometimes hard to interact with. Like, locking in a character is X, and then to lock in your second character, it's Y. If you hit X again, it cancels out your selection for your first player. So you're like, okay, X to lock this one in, then X to lock this one. No, it's Y to lock the second player in and ready up, not XX. It's XY. It's just certain things in the interface just don't make any sense. So to me, this came off as a half, you-know-what. I'm being family friendly here. A half, you-know-what, overcooked-like game that is missing features that I think are standard nowadays. That should be in a game like this to make it more accessible to casual people. But as it stands, you're going to need multiple people to play this game. The balance doesn't really seem to support single player. And because of that, had it advertised only multiplayer, I'd be like, yeah. But some people may see that single player tag and go, oh, well, it supports single player. That means I should have everything I need to keep on playing. No. Unless you're really good at these types of games, to solo them, you're not getting very far. I'm sorry to say. So this gets a pass from me. Unless you guys, have a lot of people to play with, 2 or more people. Even 2 might be a little difficult because that 4th level can be rather difficult. So if you like challenging, then this game will give it to you, but it's just not for me. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I'm going to publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.